The galaxy had known peace for a long time. Not real peace, but the kind where strong empires ruled and a weak world stayed quiet. The Galactic Council controlled trade routes, military borders, and first contact laws. They believed they understood every species that mattered. Humanity was not one of them. Humans were listed as a minor race, young, loud, curious. Their ships were small compared to the great fleets of the galaxy. Their weapons were rated as outdated. Their space was marked as low threat. Most commanders ignored human warnings and passed through their systems without care. On the edge of a silent star system, a human convoy drifted slowly. Cargo ships moved in neat lines, engines low, weapons hidden. To any scanner, they looked harmless. No shields flared. No war signals were sent. Just quiet movement through the dark. That was when the Varkal fleet arrived. The Varkal were feared across many sectors. Tall, armored beings with sharp minds and sharper weapons. Their ships were heavy, black, and aggressive in shape. They did not ask permission. They took what they wanted. The Council often looked away because stopping the Varkal cost too much. Admiral Krex of the Varkal fleet studied the human ships on his screen. He felt no concern. Primitive, he said calmly. They wander where they do not belong. His officers laughed softly. The fleet moved forward, weapons charging. The humans sent a message. It was simple and calm. This is a protected human convoy. You are entering restricted space. Turn back. Krex did not reply. Instead, he ordered a warning shot. A beam of energy cut through space and struck the lead human cargo ship. The ship broke apart in a silent flash of light. Metal, fire, and bodies vanished into the void. The remaining human ships did not fire back. They did not run. They changed formation. This surprised the Varkal officers. They hesitate. One said, "Fear." But that was not fear dive far behind the convoy. Something began to move. It had been there the whole time, hidden in plain sight, wrapped in advanced masking fields, silent beyond normal detection. Even the Council's deep scanners would have missed it. The object was massive, larger than a Varkal command ship, larger than anything the humans were supposed to have. Inside that hidden vessel, human officers stood still. No shouting, no panic. Captain Elias Rowe looked at the tactical display. His face showed no anger, only resolve. They crossed the line. He said quietly, the order was given. Power surged through the hidden ship. Ancient stars reflected off its hull as light bent and twisted around it. The masking field collapsed in a controlled wave. Space itself seemed to open. The human warship appeared. Its shape was smooth and curved, like a blade forged by science. Rings of glowing energy circled its hull. White-blue light burned from its engines. Symbols of human command shone across its surface. It was not loud. It did not rush forward. It simply existed. VA or KUL sensor screamed. What is that? An officer shouted. K or EX stared at the screen. His confidence cracked for the first time. The ship's energy readings were impossible. Shields layered over shields. Weapon systems that did not match any known design. This is not in their records, Krex said. The human warship moved. Without warning, space around the Varkal fleet distorted. Human escort ships decloaked next, smaller but fast, appearing like ghosts around the enemy formation. Before the Varkal could react, the first human weapon fired. It was not a beam. It was not a missile. It was silence. Then 3 Varkal cruisers vanished. Not exploded, not broken, simply erased, as if they had never been there. Panic spread through the Varkal command deck. Shields failing. Multiple systems offline. Admiral, we cannot lock targets. Krex shouted orders, but it was already delayed. The human warship did not chase. It controlled the battlefield. Each movement was slow, precise, and deadly. Another pulse spread outward. A Varkal battleship tore itself apart as its own energy systems overloaded across nearby systems. Long-range sensors picked up the signals. Galactic observers froze as data flooded in. A single human warship was dismantling a full Varkal fleet. The Council tried to send a ceasefire message. The humans did not respond. Captain Rowe watched the enemy ships fall one by one. He did not smile. This is the cost of ignorance, he said. They were warned. As the last Varkal ship attempted to flee, the human warship turned its bow toward it. A focused beam of light cut through space, ending the signal forever. Silence returned. Wreckage drifted among the stars. The human convoy resumed its course, protected once more, across the galaxy. Fear began to grow. Humanity had not been weak. Humanity had been waiting. The destruction of the Varkal fleet did not stay secret for long. Across the galaxy, listening stations replayed the same recordings again and again. A human warship appearing from nothing. Varkal ships erased in seconds. Energy readings that broke known limits. Military leaders stared at their screens in silence. At the Galactic Council chamber, panic filled the air. The council hall was built to show power. Tall pillars, floating light displays, flags of 100 species. But now, fear made it feel small. Representatives argued loudly. Voice is overlapped. No one agreed on what to do. They violated galactic balance. One delegate shouted. They defended their space. Another replied. They hid weapons of this level from us. A third said. Trembling. At the center of the room, the high speaker raised his hands for silence. His skin shimmered with stress colors. Enough, he said. We will not survive this. By shouting, a massive display appeared above the chamber. It showed the human warship again, slow, calm, untouched. This ship alone destroyed a fleet we feared for decades. The high speaker continued, and reports say it was not even damaged. A quiet truth settled over the room. If humanity had one ship like this, how many more did they have? Far from the council, Captain Elias Rowe stood on the bridge of the human warship. Stars passed slowly outside the wide view screen. The ship showed no sign of battle. No smoke, no flashing alarms. Everything worked as designed. Damage report, Rowe asked. 0 losses. The tactical officer replied. All systems at full strength. Rowe nodded once. That was expected. The ship's artificial intelligence processed data at incredible speed. Enemy patterns, council signals, long-range scans. It noticed something before the crew did. Captain, the AI said calmly. Multiple fleets are mobilizing near our position. Rowe stepped closer to the display. Dozens of signals appeared. Different ship designs, different energy types. They're afraid, Rowe said. And fear makes mistakes. The human escort ships moved into wider formation. Their pilots stayed silent. Every move was planned long before today. Humanity had prepared for this moment for generations. Elsewhere, the Varkal homeworld burned with anger. Admiral Krex's death shook their empire. He was not just a commander. He was a symbol of strength. His loss forced the Varkal leaders to face something they never imagined. Humans were not prey. The Varkal War Council demanded revenge. Fleets were recalled from distant systems. Weapons long kept unused were activated. Old alliances were forced back into service. We will crush them, a Varkal general growled. No race hides power like this without reason, but not all Varkal agreed. Some remembered the recordings, the calm way the human ship fought, the precision, the lack of waste. This was not a battle, one strategist warned. It was a message. Back at the Galactic Council, a decision was made. They would send a delegation, not a threat, not an order, a request. A small diplomatic ship was prepared. No weapons charged, no escorts, only words. When the ship arrived near the human warship, it transmitted a greeting. This is the Galactic Council, the message said. We request dialogue. The human ship did not respond at first. Minutes passed. Tension grew. Then the reply came. This is Captain Elias Rowe of the Human Defense Fleet. State your purpose. The council delegates exchanged uneasy looks. We wish to understand. One finally said, your technology, your intentions, why you hid this power. Rowe listened without emotion. We did not hide. He replied, you never looked. Silence followed. You judged us, Rowe continued. You ignored our warnings. You allowed others to kill our people. We learned from that. The delegates felt a cold realization form. You were building, one whispered. Yes, Rowe said. We chose patience over pride. The council asked a dangerous question next. Are there more ships like yours? Rowe did not answer directly. There are enough, he said. That was all. As the delegation withdrew, alarms began to sound across nearby space. Varkal fleets were arriving faster than expected. Not one or two dozens. Captain Rowe turned back to his crew. Raise full shields. He ordered. Inform command. Phase 2 begins. The human warship adjusted its position, placing itself between the approaching fleets and human space. Energy levels rose, steady and controlled, far away, deep within human territory. Other signals woke from silence. Ancient docks opened. Hidden fleets prepared to move. The galaxy was about to learn a final truth. Humanity did not fight to conquer. Humanity fought to end threats forever. The Varkal fleets arrived like a dark storm. From every direction, Massive warships poured into the system. Their engines burned red and black. Weapons charged openly. They did not come to talk. They came to destroy. Captain Elias Rowe watched the tactical map grow crowded, so they chose force. He said calmly, "The human warship remained still. It did not rush forward. It did not retreat. The glowing rings around its hull rotated faster. Silent and smooth. VARKUL commanders sent one final message. Human vessel." The transmission growled, "Leave this space or be erased." Rowe did not answer. Instead, he gave a simple order. Deploy the wall. Space shifted. Around the human warship, light bent sharply. Invisible barriers expanded outward, forming a wide shield zone. When the first Varkal attack fired, dozens of beams struck the field at once. None passed through. The energy washed across the barrier like rain against glass. Varkal commanders froze. "Increase power," one shouted. "All batteries." More fire followed, stronger, hotter, still useless. Then the human ship responded. Not with full force. Just enough. A wave of blue-white energy spread outward. It did not explode. It touched the nearest Varkal ships and passed through them. Moments later, their systems failed. Engines shut down. Weapons went dark. Shields collapsed. Entire ships drifted powerless. Fear rippled through the Varkal fleets. "They disabled us," one officer whispered. "They could have destroyed us." Captain Rowe watched the result carefully. "This is your final warning," he transmitted calmly. "Withdraw." Some Varkal ships turned away at once. Others hesitated. Pride fought fear. Then new signals appeared. Human ships. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect order. Not chaotic. Not rushed. Hundreds of vessels, each different in shape but united in design. Sleek, efficient, deadly. They surrounded the system slowly, closing escape pods without firing a single shot across the galaxy. Observers watched in disbelief. Humanity did not have one powerful ship. Humanity had an entire fleet. At the Galactic Council chamber, silence ruled. They were never weak, the High Speaker said quietly. "We were blind." A council military advisor shook his head. "No," he said. "They chose restraint." Back in the battle zone, Varkal leadership fractured. Some fleets attempted to flee. Human ships allowed them to go. Others fired in panic. That was their mistake. The human response was immediate and precise. Targeted strikes removed only the attackers. No wide destruction. No wasted fire. Every shot had purpose. Within minutes, the remaining Varkal forces stopped fighting. Wreckage floated among powerless ships. The system grew quiet again. Captain Rowe addressed all channels. "This conflict ends now," he said. "Any further aggression will be met with final action." No one challenged him. Deep within Varkal space, the ruling council listened in shame. They had believed fear ruled the galaxy. They were wrong. Meanwhile, inside human territory, something far greater was awakening. Facilities hidden inside stars and planets came alive. Ships larger than cities prepared to move. These were not warships built for defense. They were built for endings. Human leaders gathered in secure chambers. Generals, scientists, diplomats, all watched the same data. "The galaxy knows now," one general said. "Yes," replied a civilian leader. "But knowing does not mean understanding." Orders were sent across human space. The fleets would not invade. Not yet. Humanity would let the galaxy decide its next move. Back on the warship bridge, Rowe looked at the stars. "We showed them mercy," an officer said. "Will they remember it?" Rowe answered quietly. "That depends on what they do next." As damaged Varkal ships were escorted out of the system, long-range sensors detected movement far beyond known borders. Unknown fleets. Old powers, ancient empires that had slept for centuries. They had seen the recordings too, and they were coming. The war had begun. Not because humanity wanted it, but because the galaxy could no longer ignore them. The unknown fleets did not announce themselves. They arrived at the edge of known space, silent and slow, like shadows moving between stars. Their ships were ancient in design, massive and heavy, covered in symbols no one used anymore. Their energy signatures were old but powerful, steady like something that had survived many wars. Galactic records struggled to name them. "These are not modern empires," a council analyst said in fear. "These are the first powers long before the council existed. These empires ruled the stars. They shaped borders, erased species, and then disappeared into isolation. Most believed they were gone forever. They were not." Captain Elias Rowe watched the data feed carefully. His ship's systems identified the fleets without panic, so they finally woke up, he said. One of the human officers looked uneasy. Sir, their ships are bigger than anything we faced. Ro nodded. Size is not strength. The ancient fleet sent a transmission. The signal was old, layered with deep tones and slow speech, translated by human systems in seconds. Humanity, the voice said. You disturbed the balance we left behind. Ro replied calmly. That balance was built on fear. Silence followed. You hide power, the voice continued. You grow in silence. That is dangerous. Ro's answer was simple. We learn from history, across human space. Fleets adjusted positions. Defensive lines formed near key systems. Civilian worlds activated protection protocols. Humanity did not panic. They had planned for this moment. At the Galactic Council, chaos returned. They will wipe us all out. A delegate cried. No. Another said. They are watching humanity. The High Speaker turned slowly. Then our survival depends on humans. It was a hard truth to accept. The first powers moved closer. Their ships entered shared space with human fleets. No shots fired. No threats shouted. A test. One ancient ship drifted forward, approaching a human defensive line. It crossed the boundary without warning. Human ships did not fire. Instead, a human vessel moved to block its path. Smaller, faster, calm. The ancient ship ignored it. That was when the human ship activated its field. Space folded gently. The ancient ship slowed, then stopped completely, trapped in a soft distortion. No damage, no pain, just control. Across all channels, the message was clear. Humanity could stop gods without killing them. The first powers paused. Inside their command ships. Ancient rulers debated. They had expected resistance. They had expected fear. They had not expected restraint. One of them spoke again. You could have destroyed us, the voice said. Why did you not? Ro answered honestly, because war is not our goal. The ancient fleets withdrew slightly, not retreating, thinking, but not all ancient powers agreed. From the far edge of the formation, a different fleet moved. Their ships were sharper, darker, filled with unstable energy. Their leaders had ruled through destruction alone. They fired. The first attack tore through a neutral system, destroying a moon-sized station. Millions died in seconds. Human sensors lit up with emergency signals. Ro's calm expression hardened. All fleets, he said quietly, engage hostile targets. This time, humanity did not hold back. Human warships moved with perfect coordination. Energy beams cut through space, precise and unstoppable. The hostile ancient ships tried to raise shields. They failed. One by one, the attacking fleet was dismantled, not erased, but broken beyond repair. Their weapons were removed, their command ships disabled. The message was clear. Mercy had limits. The remaining first powers watched in silence. They understood now. Humanity was not reckless. Humanity was controlled. The Galactic Council received a final transmission that day. Your era of ignoring threats is over, Ro said. We will protect this galaxy, with or without your approval, for the first time in history. The Council did not argue. Deep within human command space, leaders reviewed the situation. The ancient powers are divided, a strategist said. Some may align, others will resist. A civilian leader nodded. Then we prepare for both. Far beyond the battle zone, something else stirred. A signal older than any empire pulsed once. Something even the first powers feared had noticed humanity, and it was awake. The signal spread quietly through space. It was not loud. It did not carry words. It was old, deep, and heavy, like the echo of something that had slept too long. Human sensors detected it first, then confirmed it again and again. This signal did not belong to any known fleet. Captain Elias Rowe stood still as the data streamed in. His crew felt it too, even before the systems explained it. A pressure, a feeling of being watched. This is not an empire, one officer said softly. It's something else. Rowe nodded. Yes, something older. Across the galaxy, the first powers reacted immediately. Fleets pulled back. Defensive formations tightened. For the first time, ancient rulers showed fear openly. This presence predates us. One ancient voice admitted. We sealed it away long ago. The Galactic Council listened in silence. They had never heard the first powers speak with fear. What is it? The High Speaker asked. The answer came slowly. A devourer of civilizations. Human analysts worked fast. Old records. Broken data. Lost warnings buried under centuries of neglect. A pattern appeared. Every few thousand years, advanced civilizations vanished without war or disease. They were consumed. The signal grew stronger. At the edge of the dark zone, space began to change. Stars dimmed slightly. Light bent in strange ways. Something massive was forming, not arriving, but unfolding from hidden dimensions. Human fleets moved forward without panic. Defensive lines shifted. Ships larger than cities entered formation, their hulls glowing with controlled power. Ro received a secure transmission from Human Command. "This is the reason we prepared," the voice said. "You are cleared to reveal the final fleet." Ro closed his eyes for a moment. So it begins. Across deep space, human constructs activated. Not ships built in docks, but structures grown over decades. Rings the size of moons ignited. Weapons that did not fire energy, but altered reality itself. The first powers watched in shock. "You built this in secret?" one asked. Ro answered calmly. "We learned from your mistakes." The Devourer finally showed itself. It did not have a clear shape. It was a massive, shifting presence, made of dark layers and broken light. Smaller constructs moved within it like parasites. Entire stars disappeared behind it. It did not speak. It attacked. A wave of distortion swept outward, tearing apart lesser ships instantly. Ancient fleets lost entire wings in seconds. Panic spread fast. Human ships held. Their shields bent, but did not break. Their formations adjusted smoothly, absorbing the force. Countermeasures activated, stabilizing space around them. Ro gave the order. Humanity struck together. Reality-focused weapons fired. Not explosions, but corrections. Space snapped back into place. Parts of the Devourer screamed silently as sections collapsed inward. The creature reacted. It focused on humanity. The pressure increased. Even human ships began to strain. Systems heated. Time slowed near the front lines. Ro stood firm. "Hold," he said. "Just a little longer." Deep within human space, a final system activated. A structure older than any warship, designed for one purpose only: containment. The structure unfolded near the Devourer, locking onto its core. Massive energy fields wrapped around the creature, dragging it inward. It fought back, violently. Stars flickered. Human ships took damage for the first time. But they did not break. The first powers joined in, following Human Command signals. Ancient weapons fired in support, not control, not dominance. Unity. The Devourer began to collapse into the containment field. Its movements slowed. Its attacks weakened. Finally, with one last violent pulse, it vanished. Silence returned. The battlefield was broken, but intact. Stars still burned. Fleets drifted, damaged but alive. The galaxy still existed. Captain Ro exhaled slowly. "It's done." An officer said. "No," Ro replied. "It's over for now." The first powers transmitted once more. "You surpassed us," they admitted. Not in power, in purpose. The Galactic Council stood shaken. Humanity had not saved itself alone. Humanity had saved everyone, but far away, in places no sensor could reach. Faint signals echoed. Others were listening, and they had learned something important. Humanity was no longer hiding. The galaxy did not celebrate. After the Devourer vanished, there were no cheers, no songs, no victory signals. Space was quiet, filled with damaged ships and drifting wreckage. Survival had come at a cost, and everyone felt it. Human repair ships moved first. They did not ask who needed help. They simply acted. Ancient vessels, council fleets, even damaged Varkal ships received aid. Power was restored. Crews were rescued. Many watched in silence. "They are helping us," a council officer said softly. After everything, Captain Elias Ro observed the operations from his bridge. His ship bore scars now. Not deep wounds, but marks of strain. Proof that even humanity had limits. "Strength without restraint becomes tyranny," Ro said quietly. "We won't repeat their history." The first powers requested a formal meeting, not as rulers. As equals. A neutral system was chosen. No fleets, no weapons charged, just representatives. Human diplomats arrived alongside military leaders, including Ro. The ancient beings appeared as projections, their forms vast and strange. "You could rule the galaxy now," one ancient voice said. "No force could stop you." Ro did not answer immediately. "We never wanted to rule," he said. "We wanted safety." The ancient beings considered this. "We failed because we sought control." Another admitted. "You seek responsibility. that were changed everything. News spread quickly. Across thousands of worlds, people watched recordings of humans standing beside ancient powers. Not kneeling, not threatening, speaking calmly. The Galactic Council dissolved its military authority that day. It kept trade and diplomacy, but power shifted. A new system was proposed. Collective defense. Humanity would lead it, but not command it. Back on human worlds, not everyone agreed. They will fear us, one civilian leader warned. They will depend on us. Another replied, they already do. The question is how we handle it. Humanity chose transparency for the first time. They opened their archives. Not all secrets, but enough. Their history, their early losses, the attacks ignored by the Council, the reason they hid and prepared. Many worlds felt shame. The Varkle sent a message next, not a threat, an apology. Their empire fractured after the defeat. Leaders who demanded endless war were removed. Survivors remembered the mercy they were shown. We misjudged you, the message said. We seek peace. Ro approved the response personally. Peace is earned through actions, he replied. Begin rebuilding. As weeks passed, fleets returned home. Borders stabilized. Trade resumed slowly. Fear faded, replaced by caution and respect. But not everyone accepted this new balance. Human long-range sensors detected unusual patterns beyond map space. Signals to clean, to control. Someone was watching again. Human intelligence confirmed it. Independent powers. Younger than the first powers, but advanced. They had stayed hidden, letting others fight and weaken themselves. Now they were preparing. Ro stood with human command as the data unfolded. They learned from this war. A strategist said, they will not attack openly. They will test us, Ro replied. Politically, economically, indirectly, human leadership made a difficult choice. They would not strike first. Instead, they strengthened alliances, shared defense technology in controlled ways, trained joint fleets, raised others instead of standing alone. This worried some generals. If we give too much, one said, we lose advantage. Ro shook his head. Advantage built on fear never lasts. The first powers supported this approach. For the first time in ages, they acted as guardians, not rulers. They helped stabilize ancient systems damaged by the devourer. Hope returned, but deep in the dark, the Watchers adjusted their plans. They saw something dangerous. Humanity inspired loyalty, and that made them harder to break. One final message reached human command weeks later. It came from far beyond known space. Short, clear, you have changed the rules. Ro read it carefully. Yes, he said, we have. He looked at the stars, knowing the final test was still coming. Not a war of destruction. A war of choice, and the galaxy would soon decide who it truly trusted. The final test did not come with weapons. It came with a choice. The watching powers revealed themselves slowly. Their fleets did not cross borders. Their ships stayed at the edge of known space, bright and perfect. Designed to impress, rather than threaten. They sent a message to every major world. Join us, it said. Together we can control the future. Humanity will lead, and the rest will follow. The offer was tempting. No war, no destruction, only order. Some worlds hesitated. Safety was attractive. Control promised peace. Captain Elias Ro stood before human command, listening to the debate. They are offering what the first powers once offered, a diplomat said. Stability through dominance. Ro spoke calmly, and we saw how that ended. Humanity replied to the message publicly. We will not rule you, the response said, and we will not allow others to rule you either. The watching powers answered quickly. Then you will fall behind. Humanity did not argue. Instead, they acted. Human fleets did not move to attack. They moved to connect. Trade lanes were opened wider than ever before. Defense networks were shared freely. Smaller worlds received protection without conditions. The galaxy changed. The watching powers expected fear and division. They found cooperation instead. Worlds that once competed now stood together, trained and prepared. Influence failed where force would have worked. The watching powers grew impatient. They launched a final attempt. Not an invasion, a demonstration. One of their fleets entered a neutral system and began building a massive control structure. Not a weapon, but a symbol, a statement of ownership. Humanity responded immediately. Captain Ro led the fleet himself. Human ships arrived in silence and formed a wide circle around the structure. No weapons charged. No threats made. Ro transmitted a single message. This system is free. The watching fleet ignored him. So humanity acted. The human ships activated a field that spread across the system. Not destructive, not violent. It simply shut down the structure. Energy drained away. Systems went dark. The construct became harmless metal. No one died. The watching powers froze. They understood then. Humanity did not need to conquer. Humanity could deny control itself. The watching fleets withdrew, not defeated, outmatched. In philosophy, the first powers watched with quiet approval. The Galactic Council accepted its new role as mediator, not ruler. The Varkle began rebuilding alongside former enemies. The galaxy stabilized. Years passed. Captain Elias Rowe stood on a quiet station overlooking a shared system. Human, alien, and ancient ships passed peacefully through open lanes. Children of many species watched stars together. A young officer approached Rowe. "Sir," she said, "they call this the age of humanity." Rowe shook his head. "No," he replied. "It's the age of choice." Humanity had decloaked its warship once and shocked the galaxy with power. But what truly changed everything was what came after. Restraint. Responsibility. The understanding that strength was not meant to rule, but to protect. The stars burn on, this time, not in fear of humanity, but in trust.